Welcome, everyone. It is 55 and 5. I think we're on episode 33.
33.
I think. It's Ian Riccaboni, Cary Silkin, our producer, AJ from Bisson Creative. Cary, we had a couple of fun ones recently. I'm wondering if this is a hot streak for us.
Yeah, I'm hoping to keep it rolling here with some good names. You know, we had Baron Leone, we had Bearcat Wright.
Yeah.
And hoping today we keep going down that path.
All right. Well, just if this is your first time watching us, 55 and 5, it's a 5-minute wrestling history lesson. Cary and I will talk for 5 minutes about the wrestler that is featured in the 1955 Parkhurst Wrestling card set. There's 121 wrestlers. Each episode features one wrestler at a time. And today, on the back of his card, it says, he's a publicity-minded chap wearing long tights and expensive jackets glittering with sequins. And I'm going to put him on top of our spiritual advisors, Captain Lou and Uncle Gunny. And if you don't know about them, please check out our podcast, Last Stop Penn Station. But, Cary, what do you know about the Mighty Atlas?
I just know that I've seen his name.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's been more than one Mighty Atlases.
It's very interesting because if you look at the results, you'd think that because he was he's called the Peacock of the Mat, and he starts he begins as an underneath guy in Capitol, kind of an opening match guy in 1940 as Morris Shapiro. Morris Shapiro was his original name.
Oh, maybe a nice Jewish man.
Yeah. His name's Morris Shapiro. And he then goes to Arizona, to the famed Arizona Madison Square Garden, where he becomes a headliner. Moves to Nebraska, which we don't hear about Nebraska too much, but there he becomes the Mighty Atlas in Nebraska.
Well, Nebraska, have you ever heard of the Dusick family?
Yeah, M.L. Ernie.
Right.
Yeah.
There was like 4 or 5 of them. And I think they had like Nebraska and the Dakotas. So that was and we're talking the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
So going to Nebraska at that time might not have been such a bad thing.
Yeah, and that's where the first official current lineage NWA champion was crowned. Orville Brown won the title in Nebraska in 48, I think. But Mighty Atlas, he goes from Nebraska. If you're in Nebraska, you usually hit Chicago, which he does. He becomes, quote unquote, the Peacock of the Mat. So Dalton Castle in Ring of Honor, we think of the Peacock, but Mighty Atlas had him beat, and he becomes kind of flashy and colorful, plays really well live, not quite on television because you can't see the colors, but it's something he does start to get a reputation for. He even gets a big headlining match against Lou Thez in Chicago in the early days of television. He goes to Texas, keeps coming back to Chicago, though. They hate him in Chicago, and it helps him draw a lot of money. Well,
and plus it puts him on television across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was a very popular foil against Lou Thez and Vern Gagne in Vern Gagne's early career. He does Omaha, St. Louis, Iowa, Chicago. Great villain. In 1961, he comes to Capitol. And he's an underneath guy, which is the crazy part. Normally, if you're brought to New York after you have a reputation, whatever your reputation is, you kind of start out at that level, but he has to go all the way down to the beginning.
I wonder if he had any Madison Square Garden appearances. I think he did.
Yeah, he had a couple. Nothing particularly notable, mostly draws, some wins, some losses. But his most notable match, he teams with a young Giant Baba in Madison Square Garden.
Interesting.
Yes.
I mean, who did they wrestle?
I did not copy that down, but he...
Yeah, Baba came to New York. There must have been some kind of deal with the Japanese company of that time, and Baba stayed in New York. We have some posters that we'll get that has Baba on them, but it was like 61, 62?
61 and 62. 62 he goes to Chicago.
Yeah, he was a young boy, so
they
brought him to get some experience in America.
Yeah, and he teaming with the Mighty Atlas. Atlas would eventually end up in L.A. There's kind of a missing period. I don't think he stopped, but the results do. So it's one of those things where I'm sure if you comb through the newspapers, you might find a couple more things, and you might have went somewhere that wasn't as well documented.
Do we know his real name?
No, Morris Shapiro, maybe. I mean, I don't know. He's one of the guys that a little less information than most. He goes to LA, he fights Bobo Brazil, Gorilla Monsoon, Pedro Morales. So he's on top in LA.
And that would be the mid to late 60s.
Yeah.
Or the mid 60s at least.
Mm-hmm. And then again, he kind of goes quiet in 67 to 70, shows up in Alabama, where apparently careers go to fade away.
He goes to Nick Goulas.
And just kind of quietly fades away in terms of what's publicly available.
Well, a hell of a career.
Yeah.
Interesting. I learned a lot. I've seen the name, but I just couldn't put anything solid behind it.
And honestly, not what I would have pictured. Mighty Atlas. I'm thinking 6'3",
right,
250 pounds. If you're not watching on YouTube, it's another man who's wearing very tight trunks. So you got another, like the Great
Notice
Bearcat,
the sandals.
Oh, yeah, he's got thong sandals on. It kind of looks like Norman Smiley a little bit. But yeah, the Mighty Atlas, not what I would have pictured. A name I'd heard, but until I looked into it, didn't really know who he was. But various times a headliner. It's pretty neat.
Nice card.
Yeah, it's a nice card. The yellow really pops his red tights, even though if they're a little too tight. Was that a thing? I know we're getting close to the 5 minutes. Was that I know that the wrestling magazines back in the day would advertise, some of this apartment wrestling and sensational stories about, there's the Brenda Lee stories in terms of, men fear dating me, or somebody raided my panty drawer. That's a very famous one that went viral a couple years ago. Was this to get in the ladies, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, wrestling has always had sexual kind of edge to it. Mm-hmm. Some is, homoerotic.
Right.
Some is, to attract the women. Mm-hmm. And this was provocative, provocative dress for the era, no doubt about it.
It sure was. It really pops off the page, if you know what I'm talking about. So that is the Mighty Atlas. A nice, fun one. Again, I think we both knew the name, but I think we each learned something on this one.
Learned a lot.
All right. Well, this has been episode 33 of 55 and 5. We're over 25% in, Cary. Can you believe it?
It's amazing.
We're going to get through all of these, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
I got a tough one for you tomorrow, though.
Oh, no.
I got another thespian. Got another thespian for you.
Okay.
That's your hint. So for Cary, for AJ, I'm Ian Riccaboni. Thanks so much for watching again. Happy wrestling. If you're listening to us on adfreeshows.com, we thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, check back 8 p.m. every weeknight until we get through all 125 of the 19th.